You're watching E.T.N. Entertainment-related new, entertainment-related discussion. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius video. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to update my top 10 video I did a couple of months ago regarding tips for new players and stuff like that. And it's a almost 6 month old video. So in this one, what I want to do is I want to update that. But to be honest, there's not too much that changes. If you're a new player coming in, and I'm going to link that video at the end of this one, just so you guys can see some of the tips that I left there, which I fairly believe, in my opinion, are valuable. But basically in this video, we're going to go over some of that stuff, but some new things as well. So I'm going to run through that list really quickly and go over some of the things that I mentioned. Number one, you're a new player coming in, you want to focus on the story. I've mentioned this before. Focus on the story because you get lapis, which is very important, because if you stack up enough lapis in the storyline, you can get up to 15,000 lapis from the very beginning all the way close to the end of the storyline. I had started a new player account, it was a free account, and I remember doing about 3 or 4 11 pulls on a banner from lapis that I basically got during the story quest. So do the story quest. Another thing I mentioned in that video is the arena in the Colosseum. You want to do the arena because even if you get beat a lot, you get points for participating. The medals you can use to open up some more of these slots here, which give you more rewards. And furthermore, you can also get into the ranking system, which will at minimum net you 5 tickets for the 5 summoning tickets for the arena and a small mini pot of whatever the choice is that week. But if you get into the higher, like 90,000s to 30 to 90, which is not that hard, which is fairly attainable, you will get a medium-sized pot and you get 8 tickets. So it's worth participating in the arena. Colosseum as well, you want to go in there, you want to go as far as you can, as often as you can, because not only do you get items, but the end reward is a blood sword, which even with all the great stuff that's out there now, a 76 attack sword with 20 spirit is very, very good for new players. Even if you're 2 months into the game, you're not going to be getting Trustmaster rewards very much. And the best weapons more or less come from Trustmasters. Some of the rewards you can get for weapons are very good. Now, one thing I did mention on that video as well, but I'm going to go into a little bit more detail here, is the Vault Quest. And the Vault Quest is something that at that time I did the video, I didn't complete. Now I have completed it from beginning to end, and I've got the Raven's Cape, which is a fantastic cape if you're farming. And the Vault Quest is not something you can do all at once. It is basically a side quest that you can do parallel to the story quest, the storyline, because as you get further in the story, you unlock more opportunities to get those elemental keys that unlock the vaults, or the it's almost like safety deposit boxes within the vaults to get you these items. And some of the items you get are very good. I mean, we can just show a couple just out the chute. I mean, there's one that I like called the Apocalypse Sword, which is like a 103 attack large sword. See if I can find it here as I scroll through my list. Actually, I can just sort with attack and it should pop up sooner. And actually, let's make it even better. Let's make it long swords. There we go. And right here it is. See, that was quick. I mean, this is a 103 attack. This is part of this is a reward from the Vault Quest, Now, of course, this weapon in particular is a little bit deeper into the quest, but it's still close enough to the beginning of the game where you might not have a Trustmaster. You might not have an Excalibur or whatever other weapon you might be getting from a Trustmaster. So, I mean, they're worth doing. Here's the Blood Sword that I mentioned earlier. So it's definitely worth doing the Vault Quest and trying to get out there and take advantage and get some of these weapons. I even think this one is a Vault Quest reward, the Mithril Saber, but I think you can also buy that and find it as well. So, I mean, there is definitely, I can't believe I still have 2 of these, these Excaliburs. which were which were rewards from an old King Mogavin. I don't even know why I still have those. But anyway, so, and as you can see, I mean, something like the Excalibur, which is the Trustmaster reward, you will get eventually when you pull enough Cecils or when you do decide to do the farming. So definitely do your Vault quests when they pop up. Get started on that. Get into it. Very important. Now, another thing you want to do, this is a great early game tip. I did briefly mention this in the other video, but I'm going to focus on it a little bit more here. One thing you definitely want to do when you start the game is get yourself a whale friend. And when I mean a whale friend, I mean a friend that you can, that is a bit of a whale in the sense that their character that they have up there has a large attack or stuff like that. Like this, for example, here's a friend that I have on my list with a 1093 attack Titus, you know. Now, it won't be easy to find a whale friend in the very beginning because a lot of the friend lists they give you available is contingent on your own level, your own rank. But you will find occasionally one out there that he might not be a free-to-play player. He might be one that pays to win, and he has some good stuff. And the reason you want someone like that is not only to help you through some of the tougher content, but if you want to get some early game armor, some early game gear, you can take this whale friend of yours into some of the early trials. And when I mean early trials, I mean the White Dragon, the original Intenger, and so on. The reason you go in there is because you can get the Force Armor, you can get the Enhancer Sword, you can get the Masamune, and these are early weapons that are like 61. I think the Masamune is a 61 or a 63 attack. The first original Enhancer is an 83 attack. The Force Armor is like a 50 or a 51 armor with some resistances. These can go a long way in helping you, you know what I mean? Because you might pull yourself a lucky chain attack character that could use a good weapon, or even if you don't, the more attack you have on these weapons, the sooner you can take down mobs that you're facing. So if you really want to take advantage of some of those early trials, you may not be able to take them on by yourself, but if you get a whale friend that you can put in there, they can pretty much one-shot them, and you'll have the item that you need along with the other rewards that come with it. So one thing I also mentioned in that video that I'm going to kind of renege on. So I mentioned expeditions in that video, but you don't really want to worry about these too much in the beginning for a number of reasons. Number one is they're expensive. They require a lot of gil, and gil is a very important commodity, especially now than it was before. Before, when the game first started, many people didn't know what to use their gil on. Well, now gil is very important to awaken abilities. We know we're getting 7 stars possibly next month, so that's going to be very important for that. So you definitely want to be very cheap about what about your gil. You don't want to spend it too much because you're going to need it down the road to awaken key abilities and to awaken, or not awaken, but to maybe upgrade somebody to a 7-star. Now, with that said, and this is more for players that are just getting into the threshold of the mid to late game where you are going to start awakening skills. Now, you'll go out there, you see a lot of videos. There's a lot of great content creators for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. A lot of you guys know that. And of course, they do a great job of providing us information. And one thing I want to say, though, when it comes to ability awakenings, be very picky, okay? Even though the awakening for a certain character might be fantastic, if you don't see yourself using that character very often, you don't want to waste the resources on that. Okay, let's say, for example, you have an Orlandu. Orlandu, if you're an early kind of player or if you're a free-to-play player, chances are someone like Orlandu is going to be in your party all the time. Well, that's the kind of character you want to invest in. That's the kind of character that you want to spend the money and the crest that you have to make them stronger, because they're a pivotal part of your party. Whereas you might have a Zahn also, and you know that he's valuable in terms of getting crest and farming, but that's what he's there for. And you're only going to farm during the story events, and story events come, once every 3 weeks? So this is just an example I'm giving you, but make sure when you get to the point that you can awaken certain abilities for certain characters, you awaken the abilities of characters you are using on a regular basis. Do not waste it on ones that you only use systematically. Even if oh man, I really need, don't do it. Trust me, even though it's getting easier to farm for these crysts, you still want to be very selective about what you're upgrading when it comes to your abilities. So that's another tip I wanted to give for many players. Outside of that, the rules of engagement as a new player, if you're trying not to spend money, is the same. You focus on the story, you build up your nest egg of lapis, you do your daily pulls. I didn't mention that, but I want to say I'm still a big believer on daily pulls. Don't ignore them. One of the more recent pulls that I've had that came out to be a rainbow was Laswell, CG Laswell, who I missed on the banner. I didn't pull very hard for him, but I missed him on the banner, and I recently got him on a daily pull. Again, do your daily pulls all the time. I know there's people out there who are say, oh, it's not worth doing it, you can just save that up. That's true, but I am a big believer in them because you never know what you're going to get. Even if you don't get a 5-star, if you're a free-to-play player, do your daily pulls, because even if you don't get a 5-star, you might get a 4-star that's a gem. Like Ash, I mentioned that in my last video, or depending on which one I put up first, but I did a video where I'm talking about some great 4-star characters you might have in your roster that you're not utilizing. Ash, to me, is one of those 4-star gems who's actually in some ways better than a couple of 5-stars out there. Warrior of Light, another 4-star gem. So, and these are 4-star gems that, when talking about Warrior of Light and Ash, these are 2 4-star characters that are more valuable than some 5-star characters. So you never know what you're going to get on a daily pull. You never know what you're going to get. And one day you might just get a character that you need. You might get that healer Ayaka or Lotus Mage Fina that is very pivotal to have right now in the current meta. So don't ignore your daily pulls. Please do them. I encourage you. I know it's 250 a lapis a day, but there are always ways to make lapis. There's never really a way to run out of lapis. And if you use it accordingly and if you stash it accordingly, you should have lapis. Another tip I wanted to give, then I've kind of started leaning towards this more than 11 pulls. I know a lot of people still do 11 pulls. They still think it's the best way to go. I tend to lean towards my own experiences. So I just want to share my own experience and maybe encourage you to do the same. It might work better for you if you don't have much luck on 11 pulls. But stash your tickets, and when the banner that has a character that you want drops, don't use your lapis. Use your tickets first. Use your tickets first. And like right now, I have I want to show my tickets here. I have 60 tickets right now, right? I've been stashing. But the last 2 banners that had characters I wanted, I never used lapis. I only used tickets. At one point I had about 130 tickets. So when I pulled for CG Nicole, which was recent, I had probably about I didn't have many tickets left because I had used a lot like an idiot going after Bosk on that tank banner. I was just praying that I would get him, and I didn't. But I had about 30 tickets or so left, a couple of gold tickets, and I started with my gold tickets. I had 6. I got CG Nicole, and I still had 2 gold tickets left, and I didn't use any of my regular summons. And then I used my daily pulls to get the rest of the troops off the banner. Now, before that, I used tickets, and I got my CG lid. And the last few 5-star banners that I have pulled on with characters that I've wanted, mainly the CG ones, I've used only tickets. I have not done 11 pulls. Not at all. So I find that if you pump out 20, 30 tickets, there is a good chance that at some point you're going to nab that 5-star. You can combo it. You can do, let's say if you got 20,000 lapis and you drop 10,000 lapis on 2 11 pulls and with a combo of some tickets, you can do that. But I literally the last 3 rainbows that I've gotten, that I've aimed to get, I've only used tickets. I have refused to use my lapis, and and some of the lapis I've spent recently has been in the store replenishing orbs or replenishing energy while trust farming. So don't be afraid to, I would say, stash it for a while. I think 60 is a comfortable number to stash up to before you start pulling on a banner you want. because I like the idea of just keeping a certain threshold of tickets available. Because we don't always know what banners are coming out. Sometimes there's people that data mine that stuff, and we can get an idea, but you never know when they're going to drop a banner on you that's just going to be a fantastic banner. You want to have some tickets available, so always try not to go less than 30 on your tickets when you stash up to as high as you can, and always try to drop, I personally feel if you drop 20 to 30 tickets on a banner, especially if it has 1 5-star on it, there's a really, really good chance you're going to get what you want without having to spend money on Lapis. So, and tickets are readily available now. If you've been a player for at least 6 months or so, you should be able to do expeditions. And one of the rewards weekly for an expedition is a ticket. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but also keep in mind, you get MOG events every week or every other week. You can go in there, you can buy, I think, up to 4-star tickets. You can buy up to 11 regular tickets. I buy them all, even the ones that are 6,000. I don't buy those right away. I usually buy the cheap ones first, then put my focus on getting other things I need on the King Mog store, and then I'll go back and I'll get the rest of the tickets. And so if I'm getting 22, so basically just from King Mog events, if King Mog events stay regularly scheduled, and if you do your expeditions every week, you're basically getting 22, 23, 24, 25. You're basically getting 26 tickets a month just on doing expeditions. And if King Mog events consistently come out once every week or every 2 weeks, or every 2 weeks almost, because it's supposed to be a certain rotation between. It doesn't always work out that way, but my point is, on average, every month you should be able to get up to 24 tickets or so just by doing expeditions and doing the King Mog event of that month. And then of course you got the raids, and usually the raids you get about 4 regular tickets and you get about 2 gold tickets. That's 6 tickets right there. So you can get potentially up to 30 tickets a month just doing events, and you stash them and you hold them, and then you count in all the lapis you get doing those events. There's plenty of ways to get in there and get the money and the tickets you need to do the summons you want. The important thing is that when you get these, don't just blow them right away. Take the discipline to save these tickets, save this lapis, because nothing feels worse than a banner dropping with a character that you want the most, and then you don't have the tickets or the lapis to summon for them. Even if you're a free to play player, you can stack up tickets, you can stack up lapis to the point where you'll have more than enough to summon on a banner. Maybe get, I think in my experience, have a high chance of getting that rainbow that you want, and still having enough left over to start building up your next stash for that next banner. Because let's face it, you're not going to want to pull on every banner. And even if there's a couple of 4 stars that you want on the banner, you don't have to spend money or spend lapis or tickets to get that. Remember, banners stay up for 2 weeks. Do your daily pulls for 13 days in a row. Chances are you're going to get that 4-star before you have to put a ticket towards it or some lapis. So the point is to think ahead and plan in advance when it comes to certain units that you want. If you know there's a gold 4-star unit on the banner that you want, then you know right there it's not worth pulling for, and it's not worth dropping a ticket for, because you have 13 chances to summon it for free before the banner drops off. And if on the 13th day you don't get it, then put the investment, invest a couple of tickets, maybe invest 111 pull if you really want it, with the chance to get the rainbow. Because there actually have been banners before where the 4-star is almost as valuable as the 5-star. I think Final Fantasy X was like that. I think Riku had come out before Titus, and Riku, even though she was on I forget who was on the 5, maybe it was Titus, but I do recall a couple of banners where if you got it, well, Riku was with Titus, now that I remember, but a lot of people were very happy to get Riku even if they didn't get Titus. When Misty first came out, a lot of people valued that more than they did the 5-star. Same thing with Ash when Ash came out. So there's going to be those rare occasions where you're going to want the 4-star more than the 5-star. And on occasions like that, don't waste your lapis, don't waste your tickets. Do your 13 pulls, daily pulls in a row, and see if it drops for you. Your 250 pulls, see if it drops for you. Even if you do that, do the math here. That's 3,250 lapis you could potentially spend over those 13 days. Actually, is it a little more? Yeah, 3,250 lapis. So if you go 13 days in a row doing 250 lapis pulls for a 4-star that you're hoping to get off the banner, let's say you take the full 13 days to do that, you're still only spending 3,250 lapis versus the 5,000 lapis you might spend to get that 4-star and still not get it. So I would say take the chance of doing it 13 days in a row. I do think there's a very good chance you'll get it between the first pull and the 13th pull. And even if you don't, you still have tickets to fall back on. You might have gathered more tickets by then. You might have gathered more lapis by then that might be offsetting those pulls altogether. And then at the end, you still have resources enough if you want to give it a shot and get a shot. So what I'm saying is make sure you pull wisely. You don't always have to pull the first day of banner drops. Sometimes if I'm running low on resources, I'll do my daily pulls for 13 days in a row to see if I happen to get that 5-star drop on me before the banner drops off the screen. And then if I don't get the 5-star through the daily pull, the 250 lapis daily pull, then I might make a run at the banner on the last day. But I can tell you right now, that's worked for me in the past where I never pulled off the banner. I used my daily pulls, and sure enough, I got the 5-star I wanted. So those are just some tips for people who are pressed for resources and they kind of want to, there may be a 5-star they want, but instead of going all out for it, there are other strategies you can use that can work for you that don't necessarily have to break your bank in game or out game. So it just requires a lot of patience. There's a certain level of excitement that happens when these banners drop, so people rush out the gate to get things. But trust me, I can tell you right now, I'm not necessarily a free-to-play player, but I'm also not a whale. And I can tell you right now, a lot of my units that you see here, and you look at my units and think, oh man, this guy's a whale. And yes, I have invested money in the game, but I can tell you right now, a lot of this is luck and patience. You know, a lot of my characters are luck and patience. And all the excess characters you might see, like all my Orlandos, which this is good obviously because I'll be able to have 2 7-star Orlandos, because this is my backup 5-6-star, and then I have my main 6-star right here. But all those backup Orlandos came much later, you know, just dropping out of the sky. But as you can see, all these characters I got my first Onion Knight off of a daily pull. You know what I mean? I've told you guys before, my first Noctis came on a daily pull. My first Lightning came on a daily pull. Lunith, who I never mentioned, I think in my last video I didn't mention him, but I got him off of a daily pull. These are characters I never got on their banners. I never, in some cases I never tried to pull on their banners because I just didn't want to invest the money. And in some cases I might have tried pulling on a banner and never ever got lucky enough to get them, and then they just came later. Like, I never got my first Lightning when she came out. I got my first Lightning like 6 weeks after she came out, but she was still very relevant. I got Lunith off on his banner week off my free summon. Noctis, I have a lot of Noctises, but both of my Noctises, 2 of them out of the 4 that I have here, let me see, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4. Actually 5, because I have 5 Noctises. I have another one that's in my farming party. But my first Noctis here was a banner pull, but it was my first pull on that banner, my first 11 pull, so it was pure luck. But then weeks later, I got another one off a daily pull. And then all these other ones just happened to drop throughout pulls, 11 pulls of other characters. I'd see a rainbow, I get excited, and it turned out to be a Noctis. So that happens to me a lot. But a lot of my characters are very, very luck pulls. Gilgamesh was the first character I ever went truly hard for, because I wanted that dual wield wrist, and then these 2 came much later. So yeah. So what I'm saying is, it is random, it is luck of the draw, but I also think patience rewards. So I know I've been on this topic for like the last 10 minutes in terms of pulls, but that's the biggest piece of advice I wanted to give to free-to-play players and players who may invest a little bit of money here and there. Your biggest advantage, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, is patience. Just because you don't get the character the time he drops off the banner does not mean he may not pop up a week later on your daily pull, or that he may not pop up 2 weeks later when you decide to invest in that 11 pull. And so I would say be patient. If you're limited on resources, don't drop anything on the first day of the banner. Take those 13 days before the banner drops off to do your daily pulls with 250 lapis. And you never know. You might get, there was one time I got the whole banner of characters off of daily pulls. That I remember was one of the coolest things. I literally spent 1,000 lapis and got the 5-star, the 4-star, the 4-star, and the 3-star on all separate days. So believe me, take it from somebody who's been playing this game since a little bit after it first came out and was much more free to play heavy in the beginning. Even to now, I don't pull on every banner. Patience. It's hard to do, but it can reward you. Just take advantage of the 13 days you have a free pull. Not a free pull, I keep saying that. Take advantage of the 13 days you have of daily pulls before the banner drops off, before you make an investment on the banner, because you're more likely to spend less money if you happen to get what you want. Because even like I said, we did the math, 3,250 lapis for 13 straight days of daily pulls is much less to pay than even 5,000 for one 11 pull. And let's face it, most times it takes 3 to 4 11 pulls to really get what you want on average, sometimes more. So 20,000 lapis or 3,250 lapis with, you know, a chance that you might get actually everything on the banner as opposed to one thing. Doesn't always work out that way. I'm not making any promises, but I wouldn't be mentioning it if I didn't think it was worth taking that approach, because that's an approach I've taken, and that's a lot of my roster was built around free pulls. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. It did turn out to be longer than I wanted because I spent about 10 minutes talking about pulling, but those are some tips that I wanted to update from the last video, as well as give you some new tips. We're going to be doing another video talking about chaining, so that'll be coming up. And then tomorrow we'll discuss the banner. We know that they'll drop news on the next banner. The Just Cause banner I've completely ignored. I had zero interest in it. I do my daily pulls all the time regardless, so, and I've gotten, I think, one character off the banner, but we'll see what they have to offer us tomorrow, and we'll take a short look at it tomorrow on a video, and then we'll take an extended look when we get all their move sets on Friday, or if I happen to catch a data mining before that, we'll discuss it. But anyway, guys, until then, this is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Click here to watch more content, or you can click here to become an E.T.N. patron. Don't forget to leave a comment. Also, make sure you like and share this video. If you want to know when the next video is up, click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. And most of all, make sure to click that subscribe button for regular content.